Welcome to Galleon Rock and Roar, your go-to podcast for all things positive happening right here in Galleon, Ohio. Our mission here at Galleon Rock and Roar is simple yet powerful: to recognize or highlight those individuals or groups who are making a difference in our community. I'm excited to have with me today an old friend, well, not an old friend, but a longtime friend, Vicki Jobe. Although a longtime good friend, that's not why Vicki's here today. Vicki is here today because of the positive difference she is making in our community. She coordinates a monthly food pantry in conjunction with St. Paul United Methodist Church, is the founder of the Galleon Tigerettes Baton Corps, and was a longtime coach of the Galleon High School marching band Majorettes. Vicki, welcome to Galleon Rock and Roar, and thank you for making a difference in our community.
Thank you so much for having me today. When you asked me, it just brought back a lot of memories, and I've lived here probably since I've been 4 years old. I think we moved to Galleon at that time. I've always loved a small town, and I think it's important to stay positive. And Galleon, I always say, if you live a good life, small town's great. So you don't have anything to hide, or I think it's important to keep positive and just do the right thing.
Thank you. And you surely are doing that, Vicki, and making a difference in our community. Is there anything else that you'd like to tell us about yourself?
Like I said, I've lived here for a long time. I have two brothers. One lives in Manhattan, who was a local dentist here for a while, Terry. And then Ricky lives in Dublin. He's an event producer. And my mom is Jean Jobe. She still resides in Galleon. I get to spend a lot of time with her. I am a member of St. Paul United Methodist Church, where I sing in the choir. I do children's moments and run our food pantry. I have worked at the salon where I'm presently employed for 43 years. It's Reflections Salon and Spa. Another fun thing that I do, I'm a lunch lady on my days off from the salon, and I'm a sub, but I love seeing the kids and interacting with them and asking if they want a hot or cold lunch. And so I like when they call me to sub, because that just makes me smile.
I'd like to start today's episode off talking about your involvement with Majorettes. Can you share your journey into the world of Majorettes?
Yes, I can. That's a passion of mine, and I could talk for hours on it. I've probably loved twirling since I was 5 years old. My mom has a picture of me with a baton in my hand at 5. I've always wanted to do baton, and when I moved to Galleon, I think I started teaching or taking lessons when I was like maybe 6th grade from Cheryl Mulebread. Yeah, she was my original teacher at the Y, or it was a community center back then. So then I wanted to start competing, and my dad always said, well, if you don't make majorette, you can go on the road and compete. Well, you know what? I didn't make majorette my first year. I tried out. And that's what I tell my high school girls a lot. There's another reason for it. So I started competing when I was in 8th grade, all over Ohio, got invited to twirl at Six Flags, Disney World, and it's just always been a passion. And then in 1981, Jack Arlen wanted a majorette advisor, so he told Paulette Collins and Chris Cadis, they were my first two, to ask me. No money in the fund. So from 1981 till present, I have volunteered, with maybe the exception of 3 years. But, when it's a passion, it's in your heart, and it's okay. So I have, since, I still have, I think, someone asked me if they found me a room, would I teach their child? And I said, sure. And that was at the top of the Eagles. So I don't even remember what year that was. This is funny. My very first corps was from the Galleon Community Center. Tony Lorenzen, I know, this just dawned on me. Tony Lorenzen in 1975 asked me if I would have a baton corps. I was going through old pictures, Marcia, and this is so bizarre. The first corps I ever had, now mind you, I just graduated. They were called the Tigerettes. Yeah, their colors were red, white, and blue. We were sponsored by the community center. And then I dropped that off for a couple years, and somebody wanted me to teach their child. So they found the Eagles, and we became the Eagleettes. And then Fritz Cotto, I was still the coach at the high school, called me in one day, and he said, hey, do you think you could change your baton corps to the Tigerettes and make their colors orange and blue, and it could kind of be a galleon thing? And I said, well, I don't know. Well, then there was a fire at the Eagles, and somebody approached me from the Elks and asked me if they could sponsor my corps because they knew I had nowhere to go. And I said, well, could we be the Tigerettes and our colors be orange and blue? That's what Fritz had asked me. And they said, yeah, we don't care. So that's kind of how the Tigerettes came to be. I think that was like 1994, 95 maybe. And then, I continued to coach the high school girls. I've had as high as 9 girls on the high school team and as many as less as 1. So, but I had great memories from doing it in high school. And yeah, like I said, I could talk for hours on, I call them my kids. I don't have any kids, but I tell you, they're my kids. They're always my kids. So.
And they think very highly of you. And that's a long time. Help me with my math, but 1981 to now, that's a lot of years of volunteer work.
Yeah, and I think there were 3 years that, at least 2, maybe 3, that I didn't do it. But, this is my theory in life. You have to give respect to get respect. And I always give my kids respect, and they give it back to me. And I think that's important. They know that they don't, even my little ones, they get more than just baton, life lessons that I throw in there. And my high school kids are so funny. They'll be like, Miss Vicki, is this a life lesson? And I'll be like, yep, it is. It is, no joke. And so, yeah, it's just important to me. It's more about twirl. It's more than twirling. I just want them to love the sport and, I love them being part of my life.
Vicki, and I love it that you talked about your majorette advising as coaching, because I'm just like you, a firm believer that there's so much more than just the coaching of the particular sport or the activity, but it is about life lessons and what you learn along the way and can take with you above and beyond the skills.
Yeah, I still to this day have one majorette that we have this rule that it's called the last look rule, majorette last look. And before we leave where we're at, we take one last look to make sure we didn't leave anything. And I try instilling that from the day that they make the squad, because that's important to me. And I have a girl who's got grandkids now, and she'll say to me, I'll never forget this story. She said, Miss Vicki, she said, to this day, I still do that majorette last look. When her granddaughter had left her blankie on the bleacher, she did that, and she got the blankie. Otherwise, if she would have just walked off. So I thought, okay, good. So it does stay with them. I don't know if everything, stays with them, which is okay. But yeah, I can see her telling me that story today. So I love it.
And sometimes do you find out that you don't know what all you have done until later on? I mean, you're talking
100%.
about
one
of your students who is now a grandparent.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, 100%. And I'm so long. Sometimes I forget what I even said. I'm pretty consistent on once they graduate what I want them to at least have learned. One of the big things I work on a lot is owning your mistake. It's okay. Just own it. Don't try to divert from it. The quicker you own it, the faster you move on. And that's probably the thing I work most on, because I apply that to my life now, whether it's work or whatever I do. If I made a mistake, I'm just going to own it. Quicker you own it, the faster you can move on, and the better you feel. You don't have to hover it. And so that's probably the main thing that I try to teach my kids. I feed them on Friday nights before the game. And we have a lot of good conversation. And usually, sometimes about school. It's usually not about the game coming up. It's usually about what's been happening for the week and if they have any struggles or anything like that. By the time they leave my house on Friday night, we're all hyped up. It's just, we're ready to go. It's fun, and kids struggle these days. They really do, about being positive. There's a lot of stuff that goes on. So I like my house to be I love my Friday nights as a safe haven for those kids. They come, they drop their stuff off, they go in the dining room, they eat. Sometimes I eat with them, sometimes not. Sometimes I just like to be in the kitchen and listen. I just do. I love my Friday night, so.
Vicki, perfect example of the positivity you're providing to our community. Thank you.
I love it. I do.
Now, do you have, hearing you talk about life lessons and what you like to portray and the kids to learn, did you have a mentor, or did all this develop as you got older with experience working with kids, or do you have a recollection of how that transpired?
Well, we grew up in a Christian home, and my dad was a coach. He retired from the schools, but he coached baseball. And I don't know, I think, of course, I remember, everyone has hopefully good memories of their childhood, but our parents were always positive, and, church, our faith is super important, and my girls know where I stand in my faith, so that's important to me. But I just think, I don't know if I've evolved. I'm sure I have as a person. It's important for them to see a good role model in me still, even though I'm the age I am, and the world is like it is today. I don't care. I really still want to be a good role model for those kids, and see that they can always take the high road. They don't have to take the low road. Take the high road. Sometimes the high road's hard, but I want them to know that that's the road they can take.
There's an option.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, Vicki, when we're talking about coaching of the majorettes. Let me take you back to the 70s, if you can remember that far. Talk about your experience as a majorette in the marching band.
I would say, I remember there were 8 that tried out. That's when the band chose who would make majorette. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. There were 8 that tried out. I was the only one that made it. And I was competitively twirling, so that was great. I was like a feature twirler. I usually competed on Saturday, so I would do my competition routine right there in front of everybody. I loved to perform in front of the big crowd. And one of my very, very favorite things as part of the marching band is when we did the Ohio State competition, Ohio State Fair competition.
Yes.
You remember, Marsha?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that was my favorite. The more people that were there, I don't know, I loved it. So that was one that I don't know how many times we did that. A lot, I know that. But
yes.
And we also went, this was way before, this was back in Ohio Northern and Bluffton. It was Bluffton College, it's a university now. We performed at Bluffton several times because they didn't have a band. Yeah. Okay. So our band would trek up there and we would do the halftime show, and so those were some fun memories.
Do you remember, did we ever go to the University of Michigan football game?
Not
or am I imagining that?
not that I ever did.
Yeah.
I don't. They may have, but I was never part of that. I know they performed for the Cleveland Browns, but that was before our time, I think. But I don't know. I just remember performing at Bluffton. We were going to do Ohio Northern. That's where both of my brothers went to college, and we were going to do that. I don't know what happened, but we never did while I was twirling. I don't know if they did it afterwards or not, but now they all have their bands, so that's kind of
Yes.
cool. But that was really fun. Of course, we had band parties after the game on Fridays, and that was fun.
You know, if I remember, we did well at those Ohio State competitions.
Yes, we did.
And I also remember we must have had some time. I can remember, I think it was Tony Orlando and Dawn that was performing at the Ohio State Fair. That had to have been when we were in band.
Yeah,
But, yeah, lots of good memories.
yeah, for sure. One of the big memories golly, I was young. As a coach, the band went to the Indy 500. They were in the Indy 500 parade. Man, and I remember walking around with Jack Arlen and Carol, and I don't know if it was Martha Palmer, if she was there with us or not, but oh my gosh, the kids stayed in dormitories, and it was just, that was a really neat thing. I think I was too young at the time to really grasp it, but I do remember that. And
That was fairly quickly after our graduation,
Yeah.
maybe even the next year. Do you think it was that early?
no, because I didn't start coaching until 81.
Oh, okay.
Now, they might have done it before, but this was my first time. The kids had to, I think it was like a 5-mile parade maybe, and they had to really practice for all of that. And just to, like, for the stamina of it. But yeah, that was kind of cool. Bus ride and all.
Vicki has dedicated 43 years to coaching the Galleon High School majorettes. That's a lot of bus rides. This journey has been far more than just teaching choreography or perfecting routines. It has been about shaping lives, building character, and nurturing the spirit of teamwork. Under Vicki's guidance, every performance has been a testament to hard work, perseverance, and the unwavering support they provide one another. In every practice, show, competition, and in fact, every activity, they are not just performing, they are showcasing the values of dedication, discipline, and camaraderie. Thank you, Vicki Jobe, for making a difference in our community. We're going to stop here and come back next month to finish talking about your other contributions to our community. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time on Galleon Rock and Roar.